So hey everyone, and in the previous lecture we saw various data types and their conversion, which is known as the typecasting, right? So like we typecasted various data types into some another data types. And what is typecasting? That is converting one data type to another. For example, we converted this float, which is a decimal, into an integer, then a string into an integer. And you can also check what is the type of a data type by using a type function, right? So let me comment these all out, and you can take a screenshot if you want. I'll scroll it a bit, whatever we have done up till now. I want to extend the discussion of the list data type, which I have mentioned in the first lecture actually. This thing. Okay, so we'll again do that. So let's define the variable which I have defined above, that is prix only, whatever. So prix is equal to, let's say in square brackets, we can have multiple data types such as an integer, right, and a float maybe even, and even a string, right? So let's say Lord Krishna, and again we can have again an integer, again and float, and etc. So let's keep it to this point only. And if I print this prix variable, then all the list should get printed, no doubt in that. And let's check it for ourselves by doing that. So yeah, no doubt this 1, 2, 3.14 Lord Krishna and 1.2 got printed in our console. Now the thing is that as I was mentioning in the first lecture, that what will we have to do to access any particular element, right? So for suppose I want to access only 3.14 or only 1.21, whatever. So how to do that? So for that we use the square brackets. By square brackets I mean, first of all, let's go into our PPT. So strings in Python, right? So the thing is, square brackets, these square brackets can be used to access elements of the string. We'll see how. And strings in Python can be created using single quotation marks or double quotation marks, right? So let's see how. So first of all, comment this out. Before coming to that, I would like to explain you what is that. So I have explained you that this is a string, right? Hello world. But this actually can be written in the form of single quotes also. Means if I write y is equal to in single quotes and whatever, I'll type any random thing, and if I print this particular thing, that is print y, then also we'll get the output, right? It means it will not throw an error. See, it printed me this particular value. So Python provides me a functionality of writing strings inside the single quotations, and similarly for the double quotations as well. Also, I would like to mention that Python also provides you the functionality of writing the strings in triple quotations. Triple quotation means triple single quotations, like we did it in multi-line comments, right? I'll show you how. So see, 1, 2, 3, and writing anything inside this, right? So you see these 3 single quotations and these 3 single quotation for closing it, and if I print z, then it should give me the exact output. But you might wonder, this 3 line was for commenting that particular thing, right? So how is it working? The thing is that the point is mentioned here also, I suppose. See, Python also provide triple quotes to represent strings, but it is generally used for multi-line string. So you can use it, but the thing is that it is not a good practice, right? Means if you can use it in single quotes and double quotes, then why do you want to print it in triple quotes, right? Triple quotes is for multi-line, so leave it to that. Though you can do that as I have shown you, right? So it is not a good practice actually. Good practice is double quotes or single quotes only. Now let me comment this out, and let me run to check it if everything is clear. Yes. So I was talking about this list data type, right? So this is known as a list data type. List data type. which is sometimes also referred to as array, because in the programming languages like C and C++ we have the concept of array, which is again a list of items, but in C it is only restricted to only one data type, means at once you can have only one data type. Forget about that. In Python we can have string, float, and again, sorry, I mentioned here string, but no, it is an integer, a float, and then again a string. And if you print it, the whole list got printed. Now I was talking about that how to access each and every element of the the list. So as I mentioned in the PPT, we use square brackets for that. Where is that? So we use square brackets to access the elements of the string, and we'll see how actually. So for example, in the prix variable only, if I write the square brackets here, sorry for the disturbance around. So if I write square brackets here and if I write 0 here, okay, for instance, let's take 0 only. I'll explain you what happens in the OneNote notebook as well. So you see 1 got printed. What is this one? Actually it is this one. Now coming to the OneNote notebook, what happened actually? What is this 0? What is this square brackets and all that stuff? Let's take a clean page. Okay, so let's see. Let's assume that this is our list. Okay, this is our list. Forget about the drawing. And these are the various sections in the sense, let's say it is 1, 2, 11, 17 and 72, whatever random numbers I took. So actually to access these elements in the list, actually this is the representation of array as well in C programming language, but this can be thought of it like a list, right? So actually this first element in which 1 is stored is at the 0th index. Okay, I'll write here indexes. So this is at the 0th index. Similarly, this 2 is at the first index, this is at the second index, this is at the third index, and so on. Means this is at the fourth index, right? So means 0, 1, just 4. Okay, so means basically whatever the number of lists, this list can be extended up to whatever numbers, but the thing is that the first element will be at the 0th index. In programming world we start from 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are nothing else but indexes. Okay, these are known as indexes to access the element. That is why if I wrote these square brackets and inside it when I wrote 0, I referred to the first element of this list, that is this 1. That is why 1 came. Means if I wrote what I'm telling, wrote whatever, so if I write 2 here, so this 2 will not get printed. It will be the index 2. And what is the index 2? It is 0, 1 and 2. Means 3.14 is at the index 2. Like this, right? At index 2, 11 is present. Right? Means 0, 1 and 2. So 11 is present at index 2. Similarly, in this list, 3.14 is present at the index 2, which can be accessed by writing this variable, then square bracket, and then 2, then square bracket, and then inside 2. So if I run it, see 3.14 came, that is this. Now if I write 3 here, Lord Krishna will get printed. How? Because 0, 1, 2 and 3, right? So if I run it, Lord Krishna got printed, right? So you can have string, integer, float in that point. Now why is the list required? If you remember it correctly, I don't remember actually that I have given you the example or not of users. I think I gave you. Yeah, so see here it is. I gave in the first lecture. So see this 1, 2, 3, 4 is in the list, right? This 1, 2, 3, 4 and in the list. I mentioned the best example of users. So what is this actually? Let's say we have a website in that multiple users are logging in or signing it up, okay, whatever. So there are multiple users and we cannot have so many variables for each user, right? If you remember it correctly as well, in the PyCharm ID also told, let's suppose there are 1 million users in a particular site, so I cannot have 1 million variables to store each user. Instead I can have one variable in which I can store all the users, like this. This 1 2 3 4 can be stored in only one container, right? And what is a container? It is a variable, right? So that is why, see, Prix is only one variable. In that multiple items are stored, and how to access those multiple items? By this square bracket. Alright. Now, as I was telling, that it can be accessed through single quote and double quotes as well. That is the string. And Python also provides triple quotes to represent the string, but it is generally used for multi-line string or doc strings. Doc strings actually are a concept in functions, which we'll see what are the doc strings. Actually it is a message for another user, or you can say the teammates, whatever, we'll look into that. So this is using single quotes, this is using double quotes, and this is using triple quotes. Now accessing characters in Python. In Python, individual characters of string can be accessed by using method of indexing. Remember? Very good. So see, 0th index, I mentioned the word index. So these 0 1 2 3 4 are nothing else but indexes. So by method of indexing, this term is known as indexing. So indexing allows negative address references to access characters from back of the string. We'll look into that. What is this actually? That is a part of slicing of the string. So next we have the concept of slicing of the string. So this part is clear. I hope you can access particular elements like this. We'll look into some methods in the list also, but before that I would like to just introduce to a basic introduction to string slicing. So let's suppose here I have my name, Prakhar, okay, and if I print X now, so Prakhar will get printed, like no magic in that. But if I write here square brackets and if I write 0, so see, actually now this string is considered as this list, means list of alphabets. P is here, R is here, sorry, not here, R is here, that is the second part of the list, A is the third element of the list, K is the fourth element of the list. So means think it like a list, means if I have a list of my name, so first will be P, first element will be P, second element will be R, A, K, H, A, R, right? So see, this Prakhar, this one particular string can be considered in the form of list, like this. So if I write X of 0, so think it of here like this here, so it will be P, right? I don't know why I cannot speak, but okay. So P here, right? Similarly, if I write 1 here, so R will get printed, so R. So simple. This is known as a string slicing. Now what was written in the PPT, like -1 or things like that. Now suppose I have this large string. Now if I want to print this, what is this alphabet? I don't even know. Let's say it is a V. Okay, V. This last alphabet V. So I cannot count it till V, right? 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? Means it is only expanding my work. So how do I access the last element? That is by writing -1. If I write -1 here, V will get printed. How V got printed? Because in this huge number or the huge size of list, V is at the end. So by writing -1, it starts from here, -1, -2, -3. What I mean is that, again coming to OneNote notebook, as this is 0th index, right? This is first index, this is second index, and this is third index, this is fourth index, fifth and sixth, right? Similarly, it is also like this. It is -1, -2, -3, and so on, -4, -5, -6, like this. Okay, so it starts from this direction also and this direction also, right? Both the direction are given for the convenience because of this practical example, because if I have a string which is too large and if I want to access the element which is at the end, or means somewhat at the end, then I cannot count it from the start, right? So I can use the concept of minus or negative indexing or negative string slicing. So if I write -2 here, so R should get printed, right? Means V is -1 and R is -2. Let's see. See, R got printed. Now there are advanced string slicing as well, which we'll see later, but for now this is sufficient. Now I would like to come back to this method of list. Now what I was telling, if you remember correctly, in the first lecture I was talking that this list can have any data type, right? Means what you can say, int, float, string, float. But what if I want to have list inside a list? Because list is also a data type, right? See, list data type. So means list can have a list data type as well. Yes, it can. So comma, again a list, see brackets, in that again, let's say whatever, my name, okay, comma, 1, not 1 I have taken, it's whatever, 20, 21, 22, etc. So what is this actually? I'll zoom it a bit. So this prix variable have a list data type, and that list data type has integer, float, string and a list. See, this is a list, and inside this list again we have string. This, it can have a list again, means list inside a list inside a list, or whatever you can do it. But now how can I access this particular list? Similarly, don't worry about that, it will be in the concept of indexing. See, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What is this? 5 at index 5. This is the whole list. I can also use -1 as it is the last, but okay, let's take 5 only. Means don't worry, everything will get confirmed when I print. See, so I access this whole list. Means what I mean to say is, see, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This 5 is this whole list. Okay, this is one element of this entire list, right? So that is why it got printed. But an interesting question arises if someone tells you to print 20 here. Now how can you do that? Means I can reach only up to this, right? This particular thing, and I indeed reached. Means if I wrote 5, this whole list got printed. But what if I want to print an element which is inside a list, which is again inside a list? You getting my point? So this list is inside a list, and inside this list are some elements which I want to access. So how to do that is writing a square bracket again. Means prix is a variable and 5 means I reach to this particular list. So if I write again a square bracket, and now if I write 0, I will access Prakhar. Means 5th element inside it is this 0th index. So if I run it, see, Prakhar got printed, and if I write 1 here, 20 will get printed. So our question was how to print 20, right? So see, 20. So this is how you print 20. Means I'll tell what I did it again. So prix is a variable, and inside the square brackets I wrote 5. And what does that mean? Is this accessing this whole list. And how to access 20 inside that list is by again indexing in indexing. So 1, so this Prakhar is 0, this 20 is 1, so 0 and 1. So that is how you can do it. Suppose I had another list inside this list also, and I had to access some element inside that list, then how can we do that? Again further indexing, means again a square bracket. So whatever the list, again a square bracket, again a square bracket, and that is how you can access a particular list inside a list, and particular elements in a list which is again in the whole list. Okay, so it's like a, you can say, a circle inside a circle, simply. Right, we have studied concentric circles, I'm sure. If you have not, it's okay. Circle inside a circle, whatever. So this whole big circle is one list, right? And this second circle is the list inside a list, and inside there are certain elements, let's say 1, 2, 3, and in the whole bigger list also 7, 2, 9, whatever are there. So that is one example. I'm sure it is easy, it is not that complicated also. I have explained you much. So that is the concept of this list data type, right? Now coming back to the PPT, you see you got the concept of -1 also. -1 refers to the last character, -2 refers to the second last character, right? You remember. See here also, yeah, I draw it by mistakenly, means I did not draw it, I had this in my PPT only. So see, this is a string known as Python, and this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Similarly, the negative indexing starts from here, that is -1, -2, -3. Means if I want to access this O, so there are two methods of accessing this O in Python. What is it? By writing square brackets inside it 4, or square brackets inside -2. Means -2 inside a square bracket, or 4 inside a square bracket, right? Means if I give an example, obviously I'm sure you understood, but okay, this is the name of my variable, this is Python. Now if I print this variable bj, then inside a square bracket if I write 4, then I'll get O. See, I got O. But if I write, let's take another print, why delete it, so that you can compare the results. So n is -1, O will be -2, so let's write -2. So see, in both the print, the O will get printed. Let's see O. So there are two methods to access O. One is by indexing it with 4, and another is by reversing the index, that is with -2, right? Oh, now this is the part of subscript operator, and this square brackets is known as a subscript operator, right? It is a name actually. Means we saw arithmetic operators, right? Plus, minus, times, divide, modulo operator, that percentage. So this is known as a subscript operator. It's defined as square bracket. It is used to access elements of a string or a list. List I showed you, right? One more data type. So like that. Various examples of hello. See, if I have str0, h will get printed, then 1, then e will get printed, l2, l, like that. I have already told you. Okay, one more interesting thing. What if the index got exceeded? Where is my pie chart? Okay, here. Means it has maximum 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So what if I try to write 6 here? So it will give me an error. Why it will give me an error? Because at 6 index nothing is there, right? See, string index out of range means only up till 5 is there, right? Means if I write 5, n will get printed, right? But if I write 6, it was 7, or let's say 345, it will give me an error showing that string index is out of range. So that was the example of index error, because 6 index doesn't exist like that. So slicing a string, I told you, right? Actually we have some methods like slice constructor and split method also, which we'll see later on, which is in the later part of the course. Obviously for now this is more than sufficient, right? More than sufficient, like only till now, like at the beginners level. So what did we learn up till now? So we printed by print function. Simply we use the concept of variables to store certain values. This value need not be only integer, it can be string, it can be a list, it can be a float, right? See, so these are known as the data types. So data types like integer, shortcut is int, and we typecasted it certain data types to certain data types, means converting one data type to another is known as typecasting, right? So we converted it. Where is it? Here. We converted float to integer data type, we converted string to integer data type. But can we convert reverse, like reverse in the sense, if float can be converted to integer, or if string can be converted to integer, can integer be converted to string? Obviously it can. Let's see. First of all, I'll show you. I have to convert. Okay, yeah. So 5, and then if I write str inside this, or enclose it in str, right, and y in that, y is equal to str then 7. Now if I print x plus 5, see, it is very interesting actually. See, the output is 57. Remember, means it is a like a thing which I'll tell you. Means when I wrote 5 plus 7, when it was an integer, so it gave me a proper result. What is it? 5 plus 7, it is 12. But if I wrote 5 plus 7, then it gave me 57. Why? Because I have told you the concept of concatenation, because these are the type string or str, so it can be concatenated. So 5 7 got stuck together and it concatenated and resulted as 57, right? Similarly, what happened, this 5 plus 7 should give me 12, but I have converted it to string and then summed it, so it gave me 57. But can you convert, very interesting question, but can you convert an integer into a float? Let's see. So let's say we have 3 and then we have 5. So first of all, let's run it. It will give me 8. See, 5 plus 3 is 8. But what if I write float here also? Float is float of 3, float of 5, then x plus 5. Let's see. See, it gave me 8.0, right? Means it converted into the decimal form, right? Means not only x plus 5, let's print only x, so it will give me 3.0. see, 3.0, right? So it converted a integer into a float. Means 3 and 3.0 are same only, right? But 3.0 is a float or a decimal, right? So it converted the integer into a float as well. So that is how you can convert an integer to string or a string to an integer. Alright, I'll comment this out. So this was the summary of our today's lecture. You can take a screenshot if you want. I'll scroll it. You can pause the video and take a screenshot, or however you like. Now, so this was the concept of list which we saw. Then we saw the string slicing, then we saw the list slicing as well, then we saw the concept of negative indexing as well. Like if I have this big string, then how can I access the last elements? So by -2, -1, like that. We saw the concept of indexing like this, right? And we can have an imagination of a string as a list data type also, right? It is actually. So that is it for today's lecture, and we'll meet you in the next lecture. Bye bye, take care.